Hello to one and all tuned into the station of Akashvani Kurseong at the airwaves of 103.5 MHz FM. My name is Shraddha and I'm here with this week's episode of the program, Talk in English. Dear listeners, in today's program, we will be in conversation with somebody who is truly inspiring. A filmmaker who has been capturing the shadows of the Indian Nepali community through thoughtful, sensitive and meaningful cinema. So stay tuned for today's special episode. Storytelling is an art that allows us to see the world through somebody else's eyes and feel what they feel. And cinema is one of the most powerful forms of storytelling. It captures emotions, memories, landscapes, cultures, and preserves them in frames of light. Dear listeners, today we are joined by a filmmaker whose work reflects exactly that, rooted, thoughtful, and deeply connected to home. A filmmaker who brings the essence of Indian Nepali life to the screen with sensitivity and honesty. We are honored to welcome Vivek Rai to our program. It's a pleasure to have you with us today, Vivek. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, and it is my pleasure to be here.
So let me start by congratulating you for winning the Silver Egg Award for the second best film at the very prestigious Krustendorf International Film Festival held in Serbia for your short film Shanti.
Thank you.
What was that experience like?
I would say that it was, life-changing. I mean, I got to know a lot of people, the experience that I've had, and I met a lot of filmmakers. The most remarkable thing that occurred to me when I was there was even we can do it. Mm-hmm. So Shanti was just made by 4 people. That would include the actress, cameraman, the sound guy, and one chief assistant director. We could compete with filmmakers who had enough resources, but we didn't have any. We just used practical lights, and we didn't have good lenses also. There were only one lens that's not even used in cinema. It's used in photography. So with that kind of lens also, we came out with a very good product. Well, that's what I felt, If your will is strong, in spite of not having enough resources, one can do it with enough passion and will.
There were 536 directors from all over the world and 17 who were shortlisted for the finals, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think your film had that got you the award?
That's a very difficult question because, I want to answer it with utmost sincerity, but, I would feel that, I would blow my own trumpet and all that. But I think it's the story, and the kind of people that you include in your team. That is what matters to make a good film. Your film has to actually tell a story rather than good photography or good costumes or a good acting, right? So if the director, the filmmaker, if he or she can align everyone to tell a good story, then you can have a good product. I did it inadvertently because I didn't know about these things. Right now, I'm just trying to deconstruct, how to make a good film. If you ask me how to make a good film, all you need is good team, with good actors, right? Good actors doesn't mean I'm saying that they are talented actors. If I recruit actor, right, and he or she has to go with the story or the character, which is written in the script, right, and that's how I have to motivate my cinematographer also, right. This is the kind of the story that we want to actually make. So how do you plan to shoot? And I was really adamant, with all the team, okay, this is the story that I've written, and this is how I plan to make the film. So if that is communicated properly to the team, then they will give you what you want to show it on the screen. So I think that's that.
So in a way, the director believed in the team as much as the team believed in the director.
Sure, right? Yes.
Vivek, filmmaking is considered to be one of the toughest jobs in the world, right? But of course, it must be really rewarding as well. So how did your journey into filmmaking start? What was that moment you realized that, yes, this is what I want to do?
I always loved movies, I loved stories, I love photography, I love music, and I love acting, It never occurred to me, that 10, 15 years ago, or for that matter, 20 years ago, that I wanted to be a film director or I wanted to make films. But I was really fascinated with this medium of, storytelling. When I was 4-year-old, I watched this movie called The Never Ending Story. And it had really affected me. I could not sleep after watching that film. I mean, I did not knew the power of cinema is very strong. And now I consciously know this powerful medium called cinema, it can really affect lives, it can change lives, so it is also a very responsible medium also, right? So I think that with this medium, I can make some difference in other people's life, bring about change in the society. Script writing actually is very therapeutic to me, because there are certain things that actually really intrigues me, affects me, and morals, ethics, so a film can be a very good medium to ask this kind of difficult questions.
I personally feel that a creative mind is never at rest. Like you're always looking for ideas, observing people, collecting moments, drawing inspiration, right? So how do you navigate through all that continuous flow of creativity? How do you embrace it, or do you sometimes have to create space for stillness?
By default, my mind is always working, Right now also I'm thinking of something else, right? So that's there. It's a constant battle with myself also. I've been like searching my conscience every now and then, like, okay, is this right? Is this bad? Is this good? That becomes very taxing at times, And like you said, how do you find peace,
Moments of stillness.
Yes, the moment of stillness. By keeping myself busy, all right, and the more I work, I think my mind is still. Because I'm at the moment, I'm not thinking anything else, right? Once the work is stopped, after a hard day's work, right, 2-3 hours only, like, there's no thing in my mind. But after that, again, something or the other pops in my mind. And that becomes very difficult at times,
You are never like done with the idea, right?
Sure, yeah. I always look for things that actually ease my mind. For example, I practice meditation once in a while. I go to by the river bank, and spend 2-3 days, which I've done, right, and or walk in the forest and a long drive. So this is how I actually come to terms, or a stress buster, I would say.
So starting with a blank page and creating a whole world out of nothing, or creating a world just from an idea, what is the most challenging thing about making films?
With me, it starts with a question, and then with that question I develop the premise, and the characters that I meet every day in my life, these are the characters, I employ them in my story. So that's how I work. And once your question is set in your mind, then it's very easy for me to set up a new world, like you said, and set up characters and all that. The most challenging thing is to write a story, a screenplay, because screenplay has so many elements to it, right? First of all, the question itself, right? That is the theme of your story. If your theme is strong, then you can build a story on it. You can build a plot on it. Right. Again, that plot has different layers to it. And then another challenging part is that how nuanced you want these 8 steps that we have in writing a screenplay, and how well you can camouflage that in your plot. So that requires a lot of nuances in your writing also. How do you put one character into a situation? It takes years and years of practice also. And if you have that, you learn in no time also. I knew I had a good story with me, but who would believe my vision? So that was also really a big challenge for me. And Steven Spielberg said that he's not concerned about how you move your camera. If someone knows how to tell a good story, is only concerned about telling a good story, that will do it. If you're really passionate about telling good stories, everything will fall in place.
That's an interesting perspective that you have there. Vivek, we are also witnessing an encouraging time when many Indian Nepali filmmakers are making their way into international film festivals. And they are doing very well too, right? Saurav Rai with Guras and Gur, and Tribeni Rai with her film Shape of Momo. They have also won many accolades. So what does this mean for aspiring filmmakers from the hills?
We have to have an idol, and without an idol you would not follow your passion. So it's very important for people like us, Saurav, Tribeni, and there are other good filmmakers coming from the region. Okay, they go and participate in these festivals, and if they win, that's all the more better, right? And new filmmakers will emerge from this place, right? Like I told you, filmmaking is the highest form of storytelling. We must have a lot of filmmakers participating in festivals, and this will not only advertise our region, it will showcase our culture also, and people will know about our places, our culture. Indian
Nepali filmmaking is still at a very, very nascent stage in terms of infrastructure, logistics, professionalism, right? So what would facilitate your work? What would make it easier for you to tell your stories?
We would definitely want, government intervention and, help us with resources and all that. We would definitely want that, and the place where I visited, Serbia, the festival has been sponsored by the government, the Serbian government.
So Vivek, over the years, I think the narrative of Indian Nepali films have shifted, right? From commercial films with familiar plots and entertainment factor. Now filmmakers are shifting more towards character-driven movies with emotional subtlety and a kind of a poetic narration, right? So what has caused that shift, and how is the audience reacting to it?
It's definitely changing. There's a paradigm shift, not just only from Indian Nepali films, but even the mainstream Nepal films, they're coming with like crafty plots. They're coming with like issue-based films, which is very good.
And they're taking more risks.
Yeah, they're taking more risk in terms of storytelling styles. They're bringing out this like local socio-economic related themes and all that, which is very good. We could only find those kind of narratives only in literature, only in storybooks and all that. Now it's coming up in mainstream films, which is a bold step, and it's really a challenge also, for filmmakers like us, who wants to experiment with like new subjects, new themes. And obviously, the actors will also have like a lot of room to showcase their talents, and not just actors, but screenwriters from cinematography. Earlier what used to happen, we used to build sets and all that, right? So it was only in a confined space or in a given space. Now we actually go on the location in itself, and then we shoot there. We study the lights and all that, right? And that becomes more interesting for the camera team, and for directors like us, we have to overlook rather the overall mise-en-scene. Mise-en-scene means everything from framing, how do you move your characters, and how do you balance that with the emotion of the scenes and all that. So that is actually we are seeing, and it's very liberating.
And how is the audience reacting?
How has the response been? And I can't tell you for certain that people are like taking really well, but I feel a number of films that are coming with this kind of social related issues, it's increasing day by day. So I think audience is accepting this kind of film, so it's good.
Vivek, I've also noticed that many of your films are women-centric, with strong female protagonists, right? Is there an underlying message that you want to convey?
I feel, the films that's being produced, not just this side, but all over Bollywood industry and all that, right? Women are like really underrepresented. As an actor, the thing is that, there are very talented female actors, not just in Nepali industry, in Nepal's actresses, but here from Darjeeling also. I've met a couple of actresses, who has done like really good job. Like for example, Shantila Tamang from Shanti, the short film that I made. She is a wonderful actress. What is more important to me is the kind of collaboration that she does with me when I was making film with her. And that's like awesome. And I look for that actually. If an actor wants to like really collaborate, who has this serious passion of like making films, then I'll just go and like work with him irrespective of the gender.
So talking about actors, we don't really have a pool of professional actors to choose from. You can't, as a director, you cannot be very picky. So when we take first-time actors, how do you make them reach their potential? Something that even they have not seen in themselves, right? That is what you have to bring out on the camera.
First, I have to spend some time with the person who is acting in the film. What I mean is, if the person's disposition, in real life matches with the character's mannerism or the way the character thinks in the story, then it's very easy for me to direct that. Also, I tell them you don't have to act. Don't act. That is a formula. And I also spend time with all the cast so that we understand each other's language, I try and study them, and then I tell them to observe themselves, their mannerism, and how do they act when they're angry, how do they act when they are upset, or from normal day-to-day activities. So when they know how do they act or how do they react in certain situation in their daily lives, right? then I tell them to react the same way they react in the films also. So that way they don't have to act in the film. So this is how I actually approach or train actors.
Vivek, cinema is also a tool to preserve and to showcase culture and traditions, right? So how do you incorporate cultural elements into your stories?
While I'm writing stories, how do you put all these cultural elements in your story? It requires a great deal of subtleties. If you show it in a way that you want to show it, your work becomes very obvious. Okay, and you feel like you start rejecting, your audience start rejecting those things. But if you put it in a way that that audience does not recognize at that point of time, but after they've watched and they go home and then they start thinking about it, they think about the culture. So that's how it requires practice and to have to try and test if this thing works or not. So that's how I do it.
I think that really stuck with me when you said you go home and you think about it, right? For me, a good film is one that lingers in my mind for a long time, that stays with me even after I've watched it, right? For you, what distinguishes a good film from a great film?
Interesting question again. A good film and a great film. A great film does not age. Like Godfather has never been 1935's movie. It's always there. It's still prevalent nowadays also.
Who is your all-time favorite director?
My all-time favorite director is Francis Ford Coppola, and there's this French filmmaker called Godard. He's one of my favorites, and Akira Kurosawa, Japanese filmmaker, and Majidi, Iranian filmmaker.
So maybe we can have your top 3 film recommendations, must watch for everybody.
I will name 3 which is like pretty modern. Okay, first one is The Star, Kate Blanchett. That movie has been stayed for a long time with me, and it was nominated in 2023 Oscars. For best movie, for best cinematographer, for best director also. And that movie has really stayed with me. I love that movie. Second one is The Brutalist, Adrian Brody. Third one is Honora, Sean Baker. That's my favorite.
Your recent venture, your first full-length feature film, Lipstick Golai, has received good response in its soft launch. Well, congratulations for that.
Oh, thank you.
So please tell us what changed. You were more into making short films before that. What was different when you made a full-length film?
Again, I tell you, it's a life-changing experience. To be with cast and crew for 1.5 months, you're working with different sets of people with different sets of temperament. And the position that you hold is big. Is very responsible. That has changed a lot of perception.
The management
side and all that, and life as a whole also, Filmmaking, it's the same thing, okay, if you make a short film or a full-length film, but feature length film, all it comes down to management. How do you manage your resources? And the resources that we had was with bare minimum that we worked, right? We didn't have much. At that time, what part of the brain that you want to listen to, and as a director, I have to have this creative side also, I have to have this management side also. So how do you balance that? Right? So I was exposed to a completely new arena, right? And then it was uncomfortable, it was also exciting, and there were a lot of challenges, and that has made me altogether a different person now, and now I see life in a very different way also.
So in your 10 years venturing into the world of filmmaking, right, what have you discovered about yourself?
Okay, I was easygoing, hillbilly sort of mentality, of bohemian, and I didn't have this courage to make big production films and all that, right? And everyone doubted my caliber, my capability. But as I kept on making films, now I knew myself that okay, even I can do it. And because my creative side was on the wilder side, and the management skills I don't have any, right? But all these years with the kind of resources that I've been exposed to, and I've been making films with that, and my management skill is slowly improving. I would not say up to the mark, but yes.
So every film is a learning experience about yourself.
It is.
So let's talk about your upcoming project. It is a web series, I believe. So what is the subject like? I know you cannot divulge too much, cannot give away too much, but what is it about?
See, on a broader sense, we try to talk about the humanity as in how selfish we are, how ruthless we can be, to what extent you can go, for power. right? But even in husband-wives power equation, from mother to child, from friends, from your superiors at the work. So that kind of human relations we've tried to explore. So yeah, this is the main thing about this web series.
All the best for that.
Thank you.
We will definitely have you back to tell us more about your web series. Right? So today we have spoken about storytelling, about culture, and the emotional language of cinema. And all this brings us to the bigger, timeless thought. So to close our conversation today, I'd like to ask, why do we as a society and as individuals, why do we need films?
Like I told you, it's a great form of or medium to proliferate information and also to preserve our culture. For me personally, film is the greatest form of art to communicate our most intricate emotions. Film, it's very important for me, because there are certain things that you cannot say with words, but you can say it with films. You can pose a question which might be very difficult to pose a question in person, but to put up a question to a larger society, film is the best form of medium to put or to situate someone in that situation. So I think film is very important that ways, and I would encourage all the young filmmakers to make the films and put a serious question to the society.
Well, that was a brilliant way to end this conversation today, and thank you so much, Vivek, for sharing your journey with us, and may your films continue to spark conversations and touch hearts. It has truly been a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you, Shraddha, for inviting me. It was wonderful talking to you, and thank you so much.
Conversations like these remind us that meaningful stories are all around us, sometimes right in our own community. Thank you so much, Vivek, for being here today, and thank you, dear listeners, for being a part of this moment. And with that, we have come to the end of the program. This is Shraddha signing off for now, and please do keep listening to Akashvani Kurseong. Stay connected, stay inspired, and take good care.